HK-Shenzhen Hong Kong I&T Cooperation Zone is one of the 4 major cooperation platforms in the Greater Bay Area under the National 14th Five-Year Plan and a significant initiative to facilitate the development of Hong Kong as an international innovation and technology hub. The Hong Kong section, known as the Hong-Kong-Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Park, HSITP, covers an area of 87 hectares and is adjacent to the Shenzhen River. Leveraging its strategic location in the vicinity of the Shenzhen River, it is well positioned to promote intensive I&T cooperation with the Shenzhen Innovation and Technology Zone, creating the exclusivity of one river, 2 banks, and one zone, 2 parks. The HSITP development is divided into 2 phases, from west to east. The estimated total floor area of the first phase is 10 million square feet, which will include office and laboratory buildings ranging from single-story and up to 30 to 40 stories high, focusing on research, academic, industry complexes, and top-notch facilities built for new technologies and advanced manufacturing. To achieve the goal of developing the innovation and technology industry and strengthen synergies, HSITP will establish thematic areas to create a diverse innovation and technology ecosystem. The park will offer visitors accommodations, commercial facilities, and other supporting amenities, aiming to create a vibrant and sustainable new community. The first batch of 3 buildings at HSITP are currently under construction in a record pace and is expected to be completed starting from end 2024 to support cutting-edge wet laboratories nestled in the midst of greenery. The remaining land in the first phase of HSITP will be developed through enterprises investment, aiming to enhance speed and quantity by leveraging market power for the construction of high-quality research and industrial infrastructure.
園區已經踏上全面發展嘅軌道，配合香港一國兩制和統一區兩元嘅優勢，呢個世界頂級嘅知識樞紐同埋創科中心，匯聚業界最優秀嘅人才，共同創造未來，開發同埋試驗創新科技方案，為國家同埋香港締造一個令人期待嘅科技產業橋頭堡。
Yeah, so that's the logo that's missing in the fintech video that I mentioned just now. So a little bit about this park. It's not being built. It's being built at the moment. So the first building is gonna be ready end of next year. So watch this space, and it's gonna be located between the boundary of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. So this is a map of China, and that's the Greater Bay Area. And our park will be in the red circle, which is the boundary. And over here you have Hong Kong. Over here you have Shenzhen, and this is our park. There's also the Shenzhen Innovation Park on the other side, which is around 3.2 square kilometers, and then ours is around 0.8. And this is when we talk about cross boundary, right? It's one zone. There's a one innovation and technology zone, but there are 2 parks, and we are the Hong Kong side. When we talk about any projects cross-boundary in China, between Hong Kong and the mainland part, there are 4 flows: talent flow, data flow, cargo flow, and information flow. So what we try to facilitate is around, the last one should be financial flows. Right? So we're trying to facilitate free flow of these 4 elements. For example, at the moment, if you're from the mainland, coming from mainland and coming to Hong Kong, you will need to apply for a visa. And the current thinking is, if you are working in the Shenzhen part in the innovation zone and coming to Hong Kong, you don't need to come to our park. You don't need to apply for a visa. That means any companies in our park can access the talent base of all the Shenzhen technology workforce. Financial flow, for example, at the moment, if you're a startup in Hong Kong, and if you want to get investment from the venture capital or any financial institute from mainland China, they always need to put money in a Chinese bank and getting through the process, waiting until they approve it, the authority approve it to get the funding overseas. But now we are trying to facilitate for a free flow of this money if they want to invest company in our parks. The third one is around data flow. China have the policy of data can't leave abroad, right? So it has to be remain inside. And we are thinking about talking about measures around whitelisting and other measures to facilitate how can data, both from China and global, can exist in our park. So and the cargo flow functions like a bonded zone where you don't need to pay tax if cargo moves from our site to the Shenzhen site. So 4 flows, I'm going to mention it later when I talk about the Greater Bay Area. And then in a park like ours, there are normally ecosystem support in addition to funding. Funding is an element towards the bottom there. So we will have our own investor network of VCs, of PE funds for them to invest in our startups. But we also have our own funding. We will have our own venture capital to co-invest or invest in startups as well. Then let's look at this way around. Then platform service providers are big corporations that help startups to trial their products and trial some R&D efforts and testing. So we'll have those partners lined up for the startups to make sure they are successful in their industry. Going up, you have the corporate partners who will provide problem statements and looking for solutions from our startups. Incubation programs, we provide space, we provide connections, mentors, programs to make sure startups are doing well in terms of developing their prototypes and their point of proof of concepts. Accelerators, we will have a network of accelerator kind of partners, and startups can get funding support from us to apply for those accelerator programs. And then the professional services of supporting startups around legal, financial, HR will also be lined up. So that's kind of an ecosystem support. And in addition to that, on the outside layer, we will have events, organize or co-host events. We'll have discounts from those business support companies so that using our kind of aggregated purchasing power to negotiate discounts for example, cloud services, for lab equipments. We'll help you with global expansion, like our relationship with a Korea consulate. We'll build an international global network to make sure if a startup want to go abroad, or if they come abroad and want to access China, we have the right partners lined up for them. And then list of domain experts in financial services, in data, in technology, and talent, university programs. Make sure you have a lot of students from postgrad, from PhD to make sure support your R&D, and we'll help you understand the policy as well. So it's a comprehensive ecosystem support that you will see in all 3 parks. But in our park, I mentioned the 4th flow, which is supporting your connection with the mainland as well. So that's a recap of the programs. And so you get funding for us to do an incubation program, meeting space. You get a domain expert, you get a subsidy from us to get domain experts support. And your product trials, you'll get funding for that. The subsidy for applying for other global accelerator programs, as well as the professional services support and business expansion. So trying our best. As long as you have a startup looking for kind of a customer or looking for other needs, then we'll try to line up the right support for you. And then there's also similar landing incentives. So if you are kind of establishing, if you are need manufacturing sites, for example, or if you are here kind of setting up R&D centers, there will be the relevant funding and incentives for you as well. So that's kind of a summary of the technology startup ecosystem support we have through the 3 innovation parks. This one is around the Greater Bay Area and connectivity. So what is Greater Bay Area? So you have Hong Kong, Macau over here, and the 9 cities in the southern part of China, trying to make this as an industry cluster for deepen to deepen the cooperation between these few cities, leveraging each other's space strength, because they have space and Hong Kong have a few other items that I've already mentioned earlier in my presentation. So how can we explore the collaboration and cooperation in this Greater Bay Area to access a bigger market than Hong Kong, but also for the Greater Bay Area companies to go abroad and look for business through Hong Kong. Give you a few examples of fintech startups in Hong Kong. For example, a digital payment company in Hong Kong work with a Greater Bay Area marketplace, B2B marketplace, to be their payment provider. There's also startups in Hong Kong getting access from VC investors from the Greater Bay Area. So the whole concept of this government guidance on Greater Bay is to encourage such collaboration so that the mainland partners also want to work with Hong Kong. And similarly, Hong Kong companies will have easier or more incentives to work with the Greater Bay Area. And each of these cities have their own incentives as well. So definitely worth looking through both sides. And lastly, people see Hong Kong as a gateway